Would you do school over?
I wish I did, man,
You wish you did. Why?
because I would be way further than I am now.
I mean, bro, I
I would,
don't like. I can't see myself doing school again, bro.
yeah, I
Like,
wish I did. You know, I didn't. I had this like. All right, so I just the way I thought about things is fucking dumb, man. Cause like I always had this like, and I know where it stems from.
mm-hmm.
I know where it stems from, bro. It's because I got left back in the third grade,
Yeah,
right? And I got left back because I didn't like participating.
right.
People thought I couldn't read. I could.
Yeah,
People thought all this, and I remember this teacher like,
I
oh,
remember your teacher, bro. Your third grade teacher specifically,
yeah,
and that guy was an asshole.
he was a fucking dickhead.
What's his name?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna out him, but
Fuck
he was
that.
he was a fucking dickhead.
It's a last name. We're not putting his whole.
Yeah,
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? You just mute that. Mute his last name out.
Yeah.
Ah, you lucky.
yeah.
My man right here. My man right here saved your life.
I'm honorable. You see,
Right?
I'm older, but I got left back because of that, right? And then like I took it like as a chip on my shoulder, dude. I realized this like, no lie, I realized this just like this year.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh shit, this is the way I've been thinking.
Yeah.
And I never thought about why that was, and it's because I got left back, and I took it personal to go like, oh, you think I can't read? Like like. You wanna call me out front of everybody? I'm gonna outread everybody. Watch. But then I took it like deeper because I was like, the way this teacher looked at me was like, he looked at me like I was dumb, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna become smarter than you,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be like, I took it like as a personal thing. So in junior high and high school, I only did and excelled at things I really liked.
Yeah.
A pluses on everything I liked.
You know what's funny? That wasn't even your fault, because that fucking all right. Me aside from me knowing that this teacher was an asshole, right?
Yeah, you went to the same school.
I went to the same fucking school.
Yeah, but you,
all right, so
you
I
never
know,
had him, but
I never
was
had
just
him,
known.
but he was known
Yeah.
for being an asshole. And then I'll never forget. I don't even know if you remember this, but there was one time that you, me, my mom, your mom, my aunt, we were walking downtown, Upper West Side. We were walking from the Upper West Side down to 34th Street, and like somewhere in the 80s, we saw him. We bumped into him.
Yeah.
And he saw us, and we just kind of said hello to him or whatever. And then you had a report card. Like, you remember how they used to write little comments and stuff
Yeah.
on the report cards? He wrote a comment on the report card like, oh, it was so nice to see you and your family that other time, Mario. And, like, it was just so weird that he remembered that, you know,
Yeah.
and that he was, like, being an ass on the, like, he was like being a dick in the report card.
Yeah.
Like, he was giving like unsatisfactory remarks because of the reasons you said, but at the same time trying to be nice, but was always a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, it never added up, and saying that just came off. I remember my mom getting mad at that shit. Like,
Dude, he was a weird dude.
I remember my mom be telling your mom, like, why the fuck did he say that?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does he mean? It was nice seeing us. Like, what? Why is he being like that with Mario? And I remember that being a big thing. Like, yo, this dude is infamous for being like, anybody who had him said this shit.
Yeah, I was really I don't know if I was shy, but I just like I remember just being like in my head at that time.
The reason I
Third
said
grade.
it was his fault, not to interrupt you, is because you just brought me back to my original point. Is that a part of it is teachers not able to engage students or like
Yeah.
making the shit boring, bro. Like, keep it a buck. There's some teachers that when you went to school, it's not like I was all right. When I hit freshman year of high school, I was wilding.
Yeah,
My
me too-
whole
me too.
freshman year of high school, everybody was wilding though. And anybody who went to Irving with me in '98, our house will know exactly what I'm talking about. That shit was a madhouse. It was a madhouse. But bro, I wasn't a kid like who would just get up in the middle of class and like walk out, or like, you know, it wasn't like that. You hear a lot of that shit now, but I wasn't really bugging like that in junior high. And a lot of teachers just didn't make it fun. They were just fucking
Yeah.
boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're over here trying, like, first of all, we're learning about some shit that happened like 700 years ago. Like, make this shit fire. I got cartoons to watch. I got video games to play. I got friends to see at the playground after school. We're going to play ball in recess. Like, there's so much other things that my brain wants to do right now. And you're over here making this shit wild boring. Like, think about it now. You see a boring video, you skip mad fast.
Yeah.
That's your teacher.
Yeah.
in your brain when
And
you're a
you're
kid.
younger, and
you're
you're-
younger.
yeah.
You're just kind of nodding off and like you're not there, bro, because they're not making the shit fun. And you saw the difference when you had another teacher, not
Yeah.
when like one teacher taught everything, but like when you had multiple teachers for different things, and you'd be chilling and be like, yo, nah, you see now this dude I like.
Yeah.
Like, this dude makes it fun. This dude is cool. I'll go to his
There was a
after
certain
school class.
style, yeah.
Yeah, man. And we went to the same school. Anyone who went to like West Side Academy or West Side Collaborative, it turned into, that was a great school.
Yeah.
They had a lot of good teachers
Emily
there.
Dickinson,
You know what I'm saying?
Elementary school.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that you hear, oh, Upper West, real nice, diverse neighborhood, bro. That's the first time I ever got robbed. That shit was wild,
In
unsafe.
school, right?
I got robbed in the schoolyard, bro. We were all playing ball in the schoolyard.
Oh yeah.
And a dude came up. It was two of them. And I found out one of the dude's names. I'm not even gonna say his name, but my homegirl, Jane, she was real cool with him. And he comes into the yard, and they come. Nobody's thinking shit. We're all playing, and he fucking took the ball. He was like, "Oh, let me get a shot." Someone passed him the ball.
Oh, he hit you with the classic.
He took a shot. No, he took
Oh,
a shot.
he hit you with
Yeah,
the
but he did the
classic?
inception.
Yeah.
He tricked us.
Oh.
You feel me? He tricked us because he took a shot and then he threw the ball back. And we're like, oh, he good money. He's all right. He ain't that bad. He's like, oh, let me get another shot. They gave him another shot. That was it. He said, yo, y'all want the ball back? Y'all got to give up the bus passes. Everybody started running.
Oh, you went after the bus
Everybody
passes?
started running, bro. And I refused to run.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, I'm not fucking running, man. Like, this is ridiculous. So I start walking up to my shit to get my jacket and leave. Psh, I'm like seventh grade and shit. My man pinned me up against the gate. Yo, give up the bus pass. Like some real like, yo, chill. Like,
Kid, what's that shit?
yo,
Fresh?
yeah. And it's like, you try to like get yourself like, get off me. Like you try to put like they're just these kids were like high school kids and shit.
Yo, Corky, this little motherfucker's wildin'.
Yeah, that's why after that it just turned into like the second anything happened like that, it was like,
Yeah.
yo, I just gotta swing on somebody.
On 100.
You just gotta swing on somebody.
Yeah.
I was legit like in the 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? How old are you in 6th grade, bro? Like 11?
Like 11, 12?
You know what I'm saying? So that shit was just, and being experienced in that kind of stuff already is different when you live in like a certain block or whatever, because no one's touching you.
Yeah.
Everybody knows each other. You know what I mean? Like everybody, even the older kids, like
You get beat up into a fight,
you
but
get
you ain't
into
gonna
a fight,
get
you
robbed.
get into a scrap. Like you used to
Yeah.
get into fights nonstop, but it was
Yeah, it
little
was
kid
never
shit.
like some
You end up
robbery.
chilling with half the people you fought. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're older. Oh, we fought when we were kids. Oh yeah, you broke a bottle over my head when we were children. Like shit like that happens. But when it's a random occurrence like that, bro, I was tight. I got robbed for my bus pass, bro. The joint with the reflector.
Oh,
little
yeah. When it was
cardboard.
really a pass.
This is before Metro cars, bro.
You used to really show people. I remember I used to have, because I had like the half fare.
Yeah.
You do the little trick, you hide it.
Yeah,
Like,
you hide it with your finger.
to show the little reflect. It was like an orange one and a green one.
Yeah,
Right?
you had to pay what, 50 cents? To get-
Back then, that shit was like 50 cents. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on, maybe less.
I remember he took it from my hand and I ripped it on purpose so that we both were fucked up.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, if I'm gonna get punched, I'm gonna get punched, bro. And I didn't get punched, but it was just like a rough house. Like, yo, and his boy was there like holding my arms, like, yo, get the bus pass. Let me go, and I go in my pocket, ripped it, and they ran off. And then I had to go back into my school and be like, yo, I got robbed. And they were like, really? You got robbed? Like, they didn't give a fuck. But
Yeah, that L moment. The teacher was it was the other teacher that got me left back and shit. He's like,
It was
"Yeah,
him.
yeah,
It was him.
He
Like,
robbed you.
oh, that's why, you really shouldn't hang out in these, like, he would say some shit like that, too.
Yeah, dude. I think about the teachers that do help though, and like there were specific ones, and I always remember like, so I carried that, like I said, even into like my 30s, bro.
Yeah.
Like that real, like, I think that's why I personally probably do stand up,
Yeah.
and like, I think that's why I think the way I think somewhat, because it was like this like real like, oh, you think I can't do this?
Mm.
It's like, watch.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And I remember just being like, so even my like at the time the regents and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was kind of class hooking up with chicks and shit, like. But I would always, I remember that sometimes they'd have us read certain things.
Yeah.
I would read the book
Uh-huh.
and not do the work. And I go, I don't like that book. and I was legit about it with certain reads that I just wasn't into at the time.
Yeah.
It was things I didn't find appreciation for at the time.
Yeah.
But then if it was certain reads that I did like, I'm like, my papers and whatnot would be fucking, AA plus. And all these teachers would be like, yo, I remember getting stopped by one teacher. Dude, at the time I did not go to his class. It was a biology class.
Yeah.
And this teacher used to get fucked around with. But I always liked science,
Mm-hmm.
I just grew up watching, just reading shit on my own, documentaries and whatnot, paying attention to it. And I remember it wasn't the highest score, but I remember getting 87, and I was never doing the classwork.
Mm.
And he stops me, and he was like,
You were his dangerous minds moment.
yeah, he was like,
You
how
know,
come?
Armando, you're really smart.
He was like, yeah, you scored really well.
You would have got 100 if you did the work. What? Why aren't you
No,
doing
he
it?
really did that.
And that's the part where what was your what was your answer?
Bro, I don't remember my answer, but he was such a goofy that he was one of those teachers that everybody fucked with.
Yeah.
Bro, one of my friends in
You
high
just
school.
felt mad dumb trying to be cool with him.
One time, one of my friends got kicked out of class, and my friend picked him up. It took him outside of class. Literally picked him up and walked him out of class, bro. Bro, in his class, we used to take the mouse balls and try to throw them through the windows to see if we could make a perfect.
Hard, right?
Yeah, bro, psycho shit. But it was just like I still enjoyed like science and biology and whatnot. But
Yeah, bro.
But some people would try to reach out like that,
Yeah.
And I always thought that was cool, but it was always like, and then I look at it now and I'm like, man, I should have I wasn't smarter than these adults.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought I was.
Nah, it's it depends, man. Like there are those situations where teachers just don't believe in somebody, and you have to like kind of prove them wrong. But yeah, man, high school, junior high, like everything is an experience. Like I just don't know if I'd want to repeat it. Just the patience of having to sit through class, man. I'm too like, I don't want to be nowhere. Right? Like even when I went to college, I was like, you see, this is different.
Yeah.
I could decide what the fuck I want to do here. And I remember this dude made this shit wild boring, bro. I went to college when I graduated after fucking up in high school. I had to do a year over and I graduated and I ended up going to City Tech. And when I go to City Tech, for those unfamiliar, that's a college in Brooklyn and it, offers everything, technology and advertising, stuff like that. So I was in graphic design and advertising and I'm learning about typography and like, working with apps like Dreamweaver and all sorts of old outdated shit now. But back then, like in 03, it was like brand new. So I'm sitting in class one day and this dude is just dragging it, bro. Fucking ridiculous. Like, okay, because like nobody's talking. It's just the teacher for like an hour straight. There's no participation, nothing. It's like, yo, let me just lay. I didn't expect college to be like that. I grew up watching dumb shit like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
I thought there were gonna be dudes eating pizza in the class, a guy with a surfboard. Like I thought there was gonna be a bunch of cool shit. That shit was just
lecturing.
Mad people who didn't know each other, and nobody looked like they wanted to be there. And I remember I'll never forget it, yo. I just straight up heard the dude talking, and I was staring, and I felt myself nodding off, and I just grabbed my bag and bounced. I was like, this ain't high school. This man ain't telling me shit right now. I'm leaving. And I left and I went to they had a center, like a computer center where you could just go there and use the computers and print stuff and write whatever. Bro, MySpace all day. MySpace for hours, just listening to music, talking to friends, learning about shows. That's all I gave a damn about. I wanted to just be out playing music and writing shit and having fun. I did not want to be in school, bro.
I think there's I look at the way things are going now with people in education and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I even myself, I couldn't imagine. All right, so if you would have finished, right, and you would have got everything done, and would you have even been using that right now?
Probably not.
That's the question.
I mean,
think
think
a
about
lot
it.
of people face that.
I feel like people are gonna tell me I'm wrong. I'm sure there's a million reasons why this is off, but from what I see, the most successful people are people who haven't even had a past and all this stuff. Like you think about, when it comes to advertising and graphic design, that's a very specific thing, and it's very competitive. Like landing a job in graphic design is like one of the hardest things in the world. Like you're gonna have to work for some company you don't give a shit about and do a job you don't really like and get your foot in the door and eventually get to somewhere you want to be with that. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of friends who do that sort of work.
Freelance work.
Yeah, freelance. It's definitely a whole process. But when you're in high school and looking at your options and going to college or whatever, you're not thinking that way. You're thinking that it's going to be like this grand thing where you're going to like come out of school and, you know, learn your shit and like.
Yeah, and you're just on the path.
Right, but that never works out that way. And I just don't regret at all doing what I did. Like, if I would have finished, I feel like I would have eventually found something else to do anyway, because I can't see myself doing that line of work, especially being that it's something that everybody's nasty at now.
Yeah.
Like like so many apps have made it possible. Like so many things have been simplified. Like an app like Canva, is a fucking whole like free editing suite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could create an entire. It's filled with nothing but templates who are created by people. That's created by people who are behind the scenes, like with the careers and stuff like that. But you have people who will go and use that stuff, and they could just do whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of ways that you could cut corners now. You know?
Yeah, I think I mean realistically, I would imagine that like most people's passions change unless you really are settled on something. There's some people that just know.
Yeah.
There's some people that just know. Listen, I want to be an engineer. I want to do. You know, I want to get into aeronautics or some shit like that. You know, different things. Yeah, and exactly, they just know. But I think most people like if you think about where you are when you're 18 to like where your mentality is to even you're 22, 23, 24, it has to change. Yeah. Because you start getting into the real world is different from what they teach you in school. Yeah. Like, dude, you know, they don't even set you up correctly, to be honest.
Yeah, nah.
And then you start having to realizing, like, yo, my passion doesn't align with this. The pay doesn't align with the cost of living and where I'm at. I'm going to get into this. How am I going to survive here? You know, I feel like there needs to be a new restructuring of the thought of education and whatnot. Yeah. Especially now because, dude, I feel so bad for people that do get into like fields. I remember I was talking to this girl years ago, and she worked she helped kids with like speech impediments and whatnot. I believe she became like a speech pathologist, I think you would call it. But anyway, it was like it's an honorable field to learn this, right, and to help. But she was like in over $100K in debt coming out. That's like a mortgage on your back.
Yeah, nah.
And it's like
it's not worth it. If I'm not gonna make, I mean, I get it why people do it. Not people got dreams. They want to make it happen. You're willing to go into debt to make your dreams come true. I get that. But when you see that it's not working that way, you know what I mean? That shit is a reality check. Like, it sucks. Because nobody should even have to be in that position.
Yeah, you got a mortgage on your back for educating yourself and trying to do something honorable. Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, like we have plenty of friends who suffer from, you know, they had that situation where they have a lot of college debt and, you know, still suffer from it, or it caused a big problem for them for years. You know? I think we're at a perfect, I mean, there's no time better to just kind of really take your time to think about where you want to go after. Like, I think now if you're 18 years old and now like about to graduate high school, you pretty much have, I think a lot of kids now have an idea of where they want to go. Yeah. I think. I'm not saying I know everybody. I'm not speaking for everybody, but like there's so many other options now and so many other lanes. Like I'll be on YouTube and come across young kids all the time that are fucking killing it on the platform. And I'm not talking about like, you know, the crazy shit. Like there's a lot of people who do like the reacts. Like not everybody's going to be Kai Cenat. He's great at what he does, but there's like certain personalities that just, they get busy with what they do, you know, like him and his friends, and like there's certain streamers that, but like there's like a whole different opportunity now with the internet being such a big thing, you know? Yeah. Like platform, like people really grow up wanting to be influencers. Yeah. Shit. You know what I'm saying?
Which I think is, I think that's just the future of, we spoke about this not long ago, but I do think that's the future of like economy, as that's the only place it would go, right? Because the whole idea of autonomous, like robotics and AI and everything, big business is going to make it so that people don't have jobs. Yeah. Now, if big business wants to exist, it cannot, you know, let individuals on the middle class and lower classes collapse,
Yeah.
meaning that they still need to have some way of making money, of making a living,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
upward mobility, especially in America. That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think the future is like an attention economy, like
I
whoever.
mean, we're pretty much there.
We're totally there, but it's just gonna get worse, and you see
Yeah.
it right now. But like, I think it was gonna be spooky, and when big business, like they always do, they're gonna just always be greedy and not realize that they gotta pump out some of that freedom back because, like, dude, there's no jobs, so you're not getting taxed enough, you're not giving anybody jobs, so you're using like not free labor, you're just using robotics and whatnot and all these like factory machines that nobody mans no more because the
Yeah.
algorithm could do it. So it's like you gotta be able to let society run in a new way, and I think America's headed in, like, at least the Western world, or like the modern civilized world or whatever you want to call it, even though a lot of the shit is still barbaric. It's just gonna be an attention economy.
Yeah. I think school is a whole different ball game now.
Yeah,
I think it's the process of schooling into a career and that whole process we're talking about. It's a whole different ball game now.
yeah. A lot of this shit, I think, if you could just make it, it's all about passion, and if your
Yeah.
passion aligns with school, then you gotta go get educated. You gotta learn.
Yeah, I
these
mean, there's
things.
certain things you definitely want
You
to go
gotta
to
learn
school for. You know what I mean?
But passion has to be that's the number one driving force, man. Because
Yeah.
if you really want to wake up and do it, man, that's
Yeah.
what you excel at.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen, if there's anything I like people ask me all the time, like if I went to school for journalism, like I don't even like to be called a journalist, because those people they go to school for years. They are experts at their craft. Like every journalist you see on like any news channel who's standing out there reciting their lines perfectly, has a grasp of every situation, going to multiple places every day, those people are on a different level. Me, you see an edited version of all my fuck ups.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
seeing the cut perfect. I've gotten much better at it. You know what I mean? But of course, this would have not been possible for me back then. Like if I was doing this 20 years ago, I would have just been one of the earliest guys on the internet trying to do it, because I wouldn't have gone to school for journalism.
yeah,
It just wasn't in my mind. I wasn't guided to that. You know what I mean? Like I had the interest. I was already watching this type of stuff. I was already talking about it a lot with friends. I used to talk to you about it a lot. Like, yo, you watch HBO Autopsy? Yo, you watch this America Undercover documentary about, the Bloods and the Crips, that Banging the Little Rock shit, that classic joint from '94. Like, bro, all this stuff is stuff that clearly, if I hear my kid talking like that, I'm gonna be like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, you like doing that? You should look into that. How do we get you into doing more of that? You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just generational. It's different. Like for Latinos, I can't speak for anybody else. I know that the way we came up, and a lot of people I know came up this way. Parents just want you to graduate high school and either get a good job or go to college. That's it. They just want to do that.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They just want to make sure that you go into something good. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to make sure that you don't fuck up along the way, that that you create a career, but they don't really have an idea. A lot of times parents are so busy doing a bunch of stuff and like raising us, you know what I mean? That they're not really paying attention to everything that you might be interested in.
I mean,
They don't have the chance.
Our generation too. What generation is that? We're millennials. They were Gen X.
Who
Our
fucking
parents. I
knows?
think they were Gen X. They're not the older the Trump Biden generation.
Oh yeah, no.
That's like the. Anyway, their generation. I think they were still on that like, just make it kind of way.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
have as much freedom of thought as we do now. You
Yeah.
know. There's no time for it, really. It was just about getting food on that table.
Yeah,
Shelter and
exactly.
food. That was
Exactly.
the main thing.
So it's something you can't really take to heart or nothing
No.
like that, but it's definitely like it plays a big role. Like if you have somebody in the picture who's like telling you like, yo, I noticed you talk a lot about this. Like, why don't you go to school for this then? You could be one of these guys. You could be a journalist. You could be like Geraldo. You could be like this guy. You could be like
Yeah.
that guy, I know I personally didn't have a lot of that. I just was told like, yo, my grandfather played music. I loved music. It was like, oh, my mom always would tell me like, listen, if you're gonna graduate, if you're gonna go to school, go to school. But if you're gonna quit college, you gotta go get a job or something.
Yeah.
Get a job and leave. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or both, or one or the other. You know what I mean? And you gotta get that ass to work, boy.
That's the way. Do you think about like or how do you approach that, like if somebody, because with comedy, right, like I'm about to be at my 10th year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is very, it's in the life of a comedian, that's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But if I meet somebody who's just starting, first year, second year, third year, anything I know, I never feel weird about sharing. Like I'm always like, yo, if somebody wants to speak and if I can help them, I'm always trying to do that.
I mean, that's just common. I mean, you shouldn't feel weird about sharing, you know?
Some people do though, and it's not. It's like going back to what we're saying, like being a mentor almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm nobody's mentor, but if somebody comes across, I always try to help. You know.
Yeah.
Is there any like do you kind of like approach things that way? I don't know if anybody's come across your like.
I've had
lane.
many people ask me how I do what I do, and I'm like, bro. That's why if you notice in my articles, whenever I put an article on the screen,
Yeah.
or you see a snippet from something, I have the journalist's name in it because I want them credited. I want people to know who really wrote that.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting my information from. At the end of the day, I'm getting all my information from news articles that were written by journalists
Yeah.
who went to school and put that info. They put in the work to get that information into papers, and now I'm able to recollect the information and talk about that. But I just let people know, listen, this is my camera. This is what I use. I do this. I'm not going to give them the sauce, every last bit, you know what I mean? But I definitely let them know, like, listen, if I could do it, anyone could do that. But I suggest everybody find their lane, I could give you the general outline of, like, what it takes to do what. But at the end of the day, it's them putting in the work.
No, totally.
Because there are some people, there's a thin line. There are people that want to know how to do something because they want to make it happen for themselves. They want to, try the same thing or go into that kind of lane. But then there are other people who will just try to do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's
not
like,
trying to spin it or not.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Gotta be creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of corny.
They just want all the rewards without any of the agony.
Yeah, like, it's just strange. Like, you have to put in the work. I just try to let people know that at least.
Yeah.
It's not a marathon though.
Oh no.
It's just wait.
Well,
what's
it's
the
not
saying?
a sprint.
It's not a sprint.
It's a marathon.
I guess I was trying to say the reverse. Like, there's no rush. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just take your time finding your way with it.
In the race, though, it's really just a marathon. You want to do something that's can last,
Of course, you want
Yeah.
to do something that's gonna be around for a while. Same thing with music. Same thing with all that.
That idea is old as fuck too.
Yeah.
That, like the tortoise and the hare and shit.
Yeah.
Like this shit is like for like somebody figured that out when they were like competing with like selling like shekels and shit. Like I don't know. Yeah, I got
using fucking corn as currency. And
yeah,
shit.
like I got 9 spices from across the globe and like yeah, you don't want to sell them all at once, sir.
9 spices. Damn.
People
What do you
used to
think was
sell-
the most fire spice?
What's the most fire to you now? And then think about what it was back then.
I mean,
What do you like? What you got?
salt, pepper, garlic.
Pepper was like, bro.
The garlic
people
is-
went crazy over pepper, bro. Yo, you know how many nations have toppled over pepper, bro?
Oh man.
People don't realize that,
Pepper.
bro. You had some cayenne back in 10,000 BC, bro. you out there? You a rich man, bro. Seasoning, bro.
Those days seemed a lot simpler too.
Yeah, dude, that was like the barter system. That was way cooler than fucking today.
Now you listen. I need that shit. I can't let you leave here without letting me get that shit. I got 4 bags of coffee beans.
I need some cayenne. That's how you would trade. Yo,
I got
yeah.
listen. You see those 3 sacks right there? All fresh corn.
We got
can have
9
that.
duckling eggs from the East Isle of Pentos. I don't know why I turned into Game of Thrones. That's what it was. I got these dragon eggs for some of your pepper.
For
Yeah.
some of your pepper, I have 40 ships.
Yeah. Bro, but yo, think about that. That shit is wild, bro. People used to that was such a different. That's how we lived.
Yeah.
We come from that. Like
You know what?
Mankind been through some crazy times, right?
This just brings me back to what we were talking about earlier about school real quick. This is some bullshit, bro. Like, I learned about all of that, like, maybe what's that, first, second grade? What, you have 2 months off of school, right?
Yeah.
Less than 2 months. Is it?
Yeah,
it's about 2 months. End of June, July, August, you go back September. Bro, what were they thinking talking about, oh, you got to read 10 books over the summertime?
Yeah, dude.
Bro, I
They
don't
were
know
just
who
getting
else
you
is-
ready for like the regular work life.
Yeah, but that's not, bro. Oh, you're not going to always have a calculator in the real world. Bullshit.
I got
were
one on
wrong.
my watch.
You were, what?
You never did summer assignments?
You never had summer assignments?
Yeah, they give you the packet.
No.
You
Yeah,
see,
you're from derelict,
this-
Florida,
yeah,
though.
you fucking, yeah,
No.
yeah. We had summer
Yeah.
assignments, bro. They would give you,
School, that's the only thing you would do, but you don't have.
nah, bro. They gave you schoolwork over the summer. I don't
Yeah.
know. Look, all right. Matt's from Florida. If anybody from Florida,
Did you get
is here,
homework over like spring break and stuff? We got that
I
too.
don't remember. I'm gonna say no. But
We would get packets if you like on Christmas break during the holidays. You would get 2 weeks off, right?
yeah.
So we would have to do work.
Yeah, we had homework over every break, and then in the summertime they gave you a packet that had like 10 books, and you had to read and do book reports, bro. I never did that shit. I
never did that shit either. I'm gonna keep
Did
it
that
up.
shit.
Should have moved to Florida. You were good.
Bro, I never. I mean, I might have done like one book report out of 10,
Yeah.
and my mom would be flipping on me like, "Yo, they're gonna kick you out of school in the 3rd grade." Like, ma,
You're gonna,
ma, come on, they're not gonna stop it. Stop. Like, they're not gonna expel me because I didn't do a book report.
you didn't do none of that book
But
report.
bro, like they want to destroy your fucking summer with that bullshit summer assignments.
and meanwhile, you know what the teachers are doing.
fucking
Unless if they were making extra money.
yeah.
I grew up and now, you grow up and then you start meeting teachers and you're like, yo, I'm doing coke with you in the bathroom right now.
Listen,
like,
I don't want to drag the school thing too much, but I will say, bro, it came full circle for me.
Yeah.
Because as you know, and for those who don't know, I spent a few years working for the Board of Education.
Yeah.
From 2009 to 2012, I ended up getting a city job because that's something that is like apparently, it's like a big deal out here. If you get a city job, it's like, woo, you landed a city job. Everybody sees it as like this big thing. I had an aunt who worked in the, in the system, and she was able to get me a job. But my ass worked in the kitchens. See, I wasn't a motherfucking teacher. I wasn't no teacher's assistant. I was the guy getting the fucking chicken strips from the freezer.
You bringing the little dope pizzas?
Yeah, all the old women, Jose, buscame esto, and I had to go get mad heavy shit. When that big ass delivery would come into the school, oh my god, they called me a heavy duty. That was my job, bro. That shit sound whack.
Yeah. You
Oh,
a heavy, duty.
duty.
Heavy
I'm
duty.
like, oh man, bro. You know what I ended up doing? I'm in school, my field office where I had to go get my checks every week. Guess where it was?
Where?
Washington Irving.
Oh,
My
shit.
high school. So I'm going back to my school to the 8th floor and shit to go pick up my check. I bump into my art teacher. I was like, how old was I at this point? This is 2009 or 2012. So I'm in my mid-20s or whatever. My brother, he sees me. He's like, Jose, oh man, so good to see you. And I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? His name was Mr. DiMartino. Him, whatever. He was a cool dude. Art teacher in the art house. I see him and he goes, hey, what's going on? What brings you back to Irving, man? You here meeting someone or what? I'm like, oh no, man, I'm actually picking up my paycheck. Like I work for the Board of Ed now. He was like, oh shit, really? He's like mad hype. Like, oh, he's like, oh really? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, what are you doing now? What's going on? Like, tell me a little bit about it. And I'm like, oh, I work in the kitchens, man. I work at I work at Norman Thomas High School. I work in the kitchen. And he was just like, it pays the bills.
He thought you were gonna be working with him on a
was his
curriculum.
reaction. He said, it pays the bills, yo, bro. I thought about that shit for like a good month. After I left that school, I walked away like, shit. This job really ain't shit for me. Like
Yeah.
for me. Notice that I said for me because it works for a lot of people. A lot of people don't need to work. I was a young dude, man. I wanted to have money to like travel and do a bunch of stuff, buy things. And this was pretty much like a part-time job. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got paid every 2 weeks, so it just didn't work for me. And then the amount of labor was nuts. because they put you in schools where they need you most and they know you're new, so you don't know shit, and you end up, bro. Norman Thomas, that shit that's another madhouse.
Yeah.
Forget about it, bro. That shit is nuts. So working up in there, I'm like, yo, this shit is stress. But, you know, again, I found my way. I had to leave that and kind of like segue out of there. But, bro, I'll never forget that interaction. My art teacher probably thought he taught me the crucial elements to
You
make
thought you
it
were gonna
like-
be side by side
Hell
with the
yeah,
curriculum.
he thought I was gonna be in the Smithsonian or something. He like doing sculptures or doing something ill. I came back to tell him I worked in the kitchen. My man said,
It
pays the bills. I said, damn, boy.
Oh
But
man,
hey, you know, everything's a lesson. You know what I mean?
that's life, man.
Yeah, you know. And then you get into, I got into the tech field after that, so I'm not complaining, you know.
Yeah.
But I had to find my footing there, and that shit just always stung out. Yeah, that shit was just hilarious to me, bro.
I'm still finding my footing, man.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is, bro.
I'm
Listen, man, everybody's still doing it. When it comes to,
I'm about to start bartering spices, guys. I'm gonna go try to pay my rent with adobo. Yo,
Listen,
I've got a concoction
listen,
of the
I
best.
know I'm late on rent. I have 15 cases of adobo in my car right now.
Ah, you sure? This is a mix of all the greatest spices
You sure?
from the islands.
You know how much this costs these days?
You know how much these cost in 2000 BC? It was ridiculous.